Hey, Tripp Kramer here from trippadvice.com, and I want to teach you something really cool today. Today I want to talk to you about this idea of a pattern interrupt. This is a term used in NLP, also known as neuro-linguistic programming, and it's about changing someone's behavior, someone's thoughts, and someone's mind in a moment. Now, what you just saw a second ago on the video was a little bit of a pattern interrupt. Why? Because I never start videos like that, and that is completely new. So I bet you just for those 5 seconds, you got sucked in. And by the way, no, that little magic trick is not something you want to do to get a girl's attention. I'm going to be showing you something completely different, which has to do with this idea of a pattern interrupt. Listen, I love magic, but not enough to be doing it to get girls. So let's not use magic tricks to get girls. Instead, let's use the way that you speak to them and the way that you are able to captivate their attention. And what I'm going to be showing you are just a couple of hand gestures, a couple of hand moves that you can use to be able to get a girl interested in conversation. And when you try it, it's pretty cool and it works like a charm. And there's a whole variety of ways that you can use these. There's basically 2 that I use, and they're very similar, a little bit different, you'll see in a second. And you're gonna be using these to get a girl more interested and do this kind of pattern interrupt that's gonna get her attention in talking to you. And the cool thing is they're sort of confident moves, and a lot of guys aren't using these. So when you're using them, she's gonna be like, whoa, I'm with a very kind of like in charge and dominant guy. And that is what we want. The first one is going to be you pointing at her. Now, you might have heard this as a kid. It's not very polite to point at people. Well, we don't want to be polite here. We're just trying to get a girl's attention. So there are many different ways that you can point at a girl and be able to get her attention and be able to start talking to her. Or you can be using it actually in the middle of conversation. So let's go through a few examples. You might actually go up to a girl. This is actually the start of an approach, and go up to her and you kind of point at her like this and you go, you, I want to talk to you. And you continue conversation from there. It doesn't matter what your opener is, but that is a good way to be like, whoa, who is this guy? What's going on? You're kind of blasting her out of whatever she was doing in that moment. You just go up and you say, you, I want to talk to you. You, what is your name? You see how much more prominent that is than going up to a girl and just kind of giving a really weak opener where she can't really hear you. I mean, imagine if you're at a club or a bar or somewhere where the energy is really high. It's going to be really prominent when you go up to her and you're like, hey, you, I want to talk to you. What is your name? And I know it might sound kind of intense, like, whoa, a girl's not going to be wanting you pointing at her, but don't worry about that. She's going to forget about all that after it's done. She's just going to know that there is this guy that has this presence that's coming up to her, getting her attention, and starting a conversation. Now, another way to do this is you could be in the middle of conversation already, and you can kind of give her one of those little flirty eye moves, and then you point at her depending on what she's saying. I like to do it like this. I kind of put like my hand on my hip here, and I kind of like give her this like, I'm not so sure about you look, and you say, you, there is something about you. You are very interesting, right? One of those can work either way. Just be like, you, I don't know what it is about you. There's something very interesting about you. And again, you're not gonna take your finger and like poke her face with it, so make sure there's a little bit of distance between you two. You don't wanna poke her in the eye, but you're just gonna be doing like a little, you. There is something just really different about you. And this is a good way to flirt. This is a way to bring presence. And again, use this idea of a pattern interrupt because it's gonna make it so she sees and feels your presence. Another great way to do this is by pointing at you, and you're gonna kind of do a little movement like this and then point at you. And in the context, you're gonna be basically saying, hey, pay attention to me. So if you've ever been with a girl and maybe something else is going on, you're talking to her, and all of a sudden someone else draws her attention in, or she's looking somewhere else, what I like to do is in the middle of conversation, I'll kind of wave my fingers like this. I'm like, hey, you, yes, yeah. Pay attention to me. I am talking to you. And you're doing it in a way where you're not being rude, like you're like, oh, like, why aren't you paying attention to me? Like, why are you looking over there? It's just kind of like a flirty, friendly way and kind of getting in her face just for a second, like, hey, yeah, you, yeah, look at me. Yes, me. You can even go, wait a second, stop, 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 look at me, look at me. You paying attention? You focused? You focused right here? Okay, good. Listen. And then you continue with whatever you were saying. This is a good way to snap her out of whatever was going on and having her focus on you at that moment. So again, it's kind of like waving like this and pointing at you and saying, hey, hey, focus, paying attention, listening? You listening right now? Right? It's like almost as if you're the teacher commanding a room. This is gonna show confidence because you're not scared to get her attention. This is gonna show dominance because you're the one who's leading the interaction and you're the one who's actually making her pay attention to you. And this is also gonna get her to be focused on you. So it's a really great way to get her interested in conversation. Again, there's the idea of pointing at her, there's the idea of pointing at you. This is a pattern interrupt to get her attention and to focus. Another one you can use, and again, this is a great way of kind of teasing a girl, is put your hand over here, kind of putting on your hip, you can't really see it below the camera, and you're taking your other hand, you're kind of rubbing your head like you're not sure if you approve of what she's saying. This is a way to disqualify her. Instead of being so needy, instead of trying to get her to like you, you're kind of reversing it here and getting her to prove to you that she is awesome. So what you're gonna do is disapprove of something that she says. And of course, don't lie about it. Hopefully it's something that you actually don't agree with, but you kind of do this, you kind of go, and when you're doing this, you're creating motion, which keeps her paying attention to you. So again, you're doing this in kind of like a disproving way, like, you're not sure if she's correct on what she's saying. You're not sure if you agree on what she's saying. You're just like, I don't know. And then you can even combine the moves. You can say, I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know. I still need convincing that I think you're pretty cool. Of course, that's not always enough to get a girl interested in you, right? These are cool little tricks, but at the end of the day, you want to have conversation that is very appealing, that is sucking her in, that's making her pay attention to you, other than you having to, wave your finger and point at her or point at yourself, right? So what I have for you is something really, really cool, and it's 100% free. It's called Chick Crack. And basically what this is a free video that you can get by just clicking on the link in the description below, and you can put your email in and you're gonna get a video sent to your email inbox that's gonna teach you the best conversation topics that are gonna get a girl interested. And yes, I have used these. I know other people who have used them, and it works because these are conversation topics that are designed in a way that get girls interested in the conversation because it's stuff that they like to talk about. So I want you to grab that below so you can take conversations and interactions to the next level. So go click on that, and I'll see you on the next video.